Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, is this game worth your time? Hello and welcome to the Criticulous. I'm a Monk, and today, yes, we are doing a review for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So what exactly is this game? Well, it is a sequel to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the second in a planned trilogy. This is a game that I've gone back and forth on a number of different times, but I feel like I've played more than enough now to give a full review to kind of give you a good idea of whether this is worth picking up or not. Now, the big question is, are you a Final Fantasy fan? Is this a game that you need to know previous backstory to, or can you just jump straight in? Well, having played it and not played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I can tell you that you definitely don't need to have played that first game in order to get into this game. In fact, if you're brand new to Final Fantasy, then this is probably a completely perfect start for you to jump into the Final Fantasy world. I mean, this game offers a lot. There is a hell of a lot of content here for you to explore. It kind of gives you an open world feeling. It's not necessarily open world. It offers up different pockets within the world where you can explore and do a number of different missions. There are loads of side quests, loads of mini games, loads of things for you to kind of collect and craft, and shops to explore for different items, loads of towns to explore, and this is a visual masterpiece. When it comes to actual combat and the style of combat that this is an action RPG. This is a game that is free flowing. You have a group of companions that you can use, and you've got a variety of different things that you can do while in combat. You can attack, you can use magic, you can even summon powerful monsters to join you in battle. For anyone that's played the original Final Fantasies, this used to be a turn-based strategy game. It's no longer a turn-based strategy game, but there is still plenty of strategy to be had. When it comes to actually summoning in some of these familiar summons like Ifrit or Shiva, they come and join you in the battle as a fourth person. They do contribute in battle, and then at the end of their time that they've been in battle, they do a big finale. Now, for me personally, someone who is a huge fan of the original games, this completely threw me. I love the summons, and it's really cool to see them actually on the battlefield as well while I'm fighting, fighting whoever I'm fighting. I need a little bit of help, but it was an odd experience to see the summons here, there, right next to me, fighting hand in hand. Now, I did briefly mention the minigames already, but there are a plethora of minigames. Whether you love minigames or not, you will be partaking in a number of them in this game if you want to complete it. A lot of the actual main storyline is actually blocked behind the minigames, which personally I found really disappointing, because there's quite a few of them that I just didn't fancy whatsoever. Some of them were just a little bit tedious, and I feel like there are so many minigames in this game that it kind of distracts from the, quite frankly, amazing story. However, there is one exception. Queen's Blood was by far my favourite minigame in this game, in which you get to scour this game for different cards, add them to your deck, and try and beat a number of different opponents throughout the game. This is one that is completely optional. You don't have to play Queen's Blood. However, if you want to play Queen's Blood, then it is a pretty fun, sometimes frustrating card game that you can kind of sink a hell of a lot of time into. For me, this is the perfect example of a minigame done right. A lot of the other minigames are just forced upon you, and you don't necessarily have an option to say no. And don't get me wrong, all of them are probably very thought out. All of them are very unique and very different, but at times it just got a little bit too much, especially considering this is one of those open world games where there is a lot to do. There are towers to climb, which will reveal different dungeons for you to explore, different enemies for you to attack, or maybe just, an extra little mission here or there. Honestly, when it comes to the actual graphics, this game is beautiful. Obviously, it's only available on the PlayStation 5, but the game looks absolutely beautiful and performs very, very well too. I had absolutely no dashboarding or bugs really of any kind. Everything just worked very, very well. It's a very vibrant, engaging world. And that brings me on to the main story. The main story, the cutscenes, is absolutely brilliant. I kind of want more of it. This game already has a ton, don't get me wrong. But it's the main storyline that kind of hooked me and made me want to keep going within this game. Because the voice acting is every bit as good as you would want.
Guilty! Grab his fin and hold on tight!
Hey, we're coming!
Hey, Shinra's most wanted. Get rid of that thing.
Say what?
Barrett, focus.
Get its attention. On it!
Honestly, seeing these guys in such amazing detail was really heartwarming. I love Final Fantasy VII. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And I really think that, you know, watching these characters come to life, seeing some backstory that perhaps we never really got in the first original games, was really nice, a really good touch to the game. Now, personally, as someone who absolutely loved Final Fantasy VII, I couldn't quite get to grips with this game. I really had to, you know, force myself to play it at times because personally I missed the turn-based combat. And it's got to be said that Final Fantasy Rebirth has a hell of a lot of filler within it. That being said, the main storyline itself will take you around 45 hours to complete, and if you want to 100% this game, you are talking about 170 hours. So that kind of gives you a bit of an idea of just how much filler there is, as well as everything that you can do within Queen's Blood 2. Honestly though, I am a huge fan of Queen's Blood. I personally loved Triple Triad from Final Fantasy VIII, so it was really nice to see a new kind of rendition of that within this game. All in all, I can't say this was a bad game at all. I really enjoyed my time with it, despite it being frustrating at times. Looks-wise, performance-wise, it gives you everything you expected. Gameplay too, as a modern Final Fantasy game, it is very, very good. I don't know if modern Final Fantasy games will ever quite live up to the hype of what they used to be, but this is a very, very interesting, very detailed game that you can spend an awful lot of time in. And considering it's, you know, it is a AAA rated game, I feel like it gives you everything that you'd expect and more besides. I also think it's one of the easiest Final Fantasy games you could ever really get into because absolutely everything is explained to you. If you take the time to actually listen to the tutorial as and when it pops up, all the different help bits that is in this game, it really does hold your hand and explain this game to you. There's also a variety of different difficulty settings, so perhaps if you want just an easier experience and want to enjoy the story, maybe that's how Final Fantasy games are really supposed to be played anyway, then you have the option to do that. For me, I'm going to give it a strong 7.5 out of 10. It may not be my cup of tea, but that's because I'm a Final Fantasy fanboy that's kind of, you know, a little bit too far in the past with Final Fantasy games. But taking this game from a completely blank status, it's a really fun game that you can spend a hell of a lot of time in. It's one of the few games out there that actually are worth the money on the tin. But hey, if you stuck around to the very end of the review, don't forget to comment Red Banana down below, just confuse all the people new to the channel that didn't watch to the very end. And if you haven't subscribed, think about doing so. But more importantly, if you've played this game, it being out for a few months now, let me know down in the comments what you thought of this game. Is it one that you would recommend? What did you think about the sheer amount of minigames it has to offer as well? Or was you just mesmerized by the graphics? But until next time, I've been a monk, we've been a Christy Kudos, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.
Like it's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't remember.
Damn whispers.
Speaking of, you seen them lately? Cloud.
Who's in there with you? Oh. Red. Thought it was someone else.